I'm surprised the Seahawks didn't come to the table for Deshaun Watson. We're down to 4 teams: Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Browns, Miles. And Jay Glazer reported earlier today that basically we're waiting for the puff of white smoke from the chimney at the Vatican at this point. Deshaun Watson needs to pick a team. That everything else is in place. He just needs to pick a team. It's kind of like what Aaron Rodgers did last week, even though the Packers denied it. The Packers, through Dave Dunn, Rodgers' agent, had an understanding in place as to what the trades would be for the various teams he could have played for. He just needed to pick one. The difference here is the current team is not one of the options for Deshaun Watson. It's one of these 4. I don't rule out somebody swooping in 11th hour, and that would fit with what the Eagles do, not just because the Eagles tend to swoop, but because the Eagles football team has done that in the past. But for now, Panthers, Falcons, Saints, or Browns, and it's just up to Deshaun Watson to pick one.
Where would you pick, Mike, if you were Deshaun Watson and you had those 4 teams? What sounds best to you?
Well, I would call Howie Roseman, and I would say, are you sure you don't want to try to get me? Because the Eagles would be my first choice if I was Deshaun Watson, frankly. The Browns, yes, as it relates to the current status of the team and where they're going, but I don't want to be in the AFC, and I don't want to be in the AFC North with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. So the Saints, I think, are the most fascinating to me because they were still very competitive last year without Drew Brees. They now don't have Sean Payton, and what is so compelling about the Saints being in this for Deshaun Watson, I can tell you, if Sean Payton was there, they would not be in it. Sean Payton was not a Deshaun Watson guy. They could have drafted him. They could have drafted him with the 11th overall pick. Of course, the Browns could have too in 2017. They could have emerged from the first round of that draft with Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson. Are you kidding me? Is that right? That is right. Yes. Holy crap. Yeah. What a first round that would have been. That would have made up for the first round that the Ravens had in 1996, their first draft after the and really, hey, Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson, Jonathan Ogden, Ray Lewis, I don't know, maybe it would have been even better, but I digress. I like the idea of Watson with the Saints. It changes the offense, and that's the thing. Like the Browns offense, it changes. The offense is more run-centric in Cleveland, not with Deshaun Watson. In New Orleans, it's the precision passing game, very controlled, very methodical, and Drew Brees ran like that like no one could. It's very different when you got someone with Deshaun Watson's skill set.
Well, I don't think that just because Deshaun Watson comes in doesn't mean that things shouldn't be as run-centric and run-heavy. Right? If the Browns are at their peak, then, yeah, you're probably passing to get the lead, and then you're running with Kareem Hunt and also Nick Chubb, obviously, in order to keep that lead and make sure that you're not giving possessions away at the end of the game. But, I mean, one of the things that they were missing in the passing game was the accuracy. And I think Deshaun Watson has shown that before, right? This guy is an elite quarterback. He is an elite passer of the football. So if you have somebody like that, it really can make your running game that much better. And if you've got a running game like the Browns do, it can make your passing that much better. So I understand exactly why the Browns would interest Deshaun Watson, especially now that they've got a receiver like Amari Cooper. I mean, man, that could be a really, really good offensive skill position group. When you talk about Chubb and Hunt and Amari Cooper and Njoku is starting to flash a little bit more if we put the franchise tag on him. I get the appeal for Deshaun Watson there. And frankly, I think that could vaunt the Cleveland Browns into being one of those really good AFC teams. And we know what the Bills are, what all these teams in the AFC West are doing in their arms race. And yes, obviously, I anticipate Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson to keep those two teams in Baltimore and Cincinnati, at the top of their game. But who's to say Cleveland can't be one of those teams if they've got a quarterback like Deshaun Watson?
And you know what? Just from the standpoint of sitting down and talking to Deshaun Watson, frankly, I kind of think that Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the team, and Andrew Berry, the GM, they've got the right personality to connect with Deshaun Watson because he's kind of a quiet, understated guy. They come off as kind of quiet, understated guys. And to the extent that Watson is just looking for that connection, maybe there's something there that happened when they sat down, but we won't know until Watson reflects on the 4 meetings and makes a decision. I still don't know what the Falcons are thinking. And, for as much damage as the pursuit of Deshaun Watson does to the Baker Mayfield-Cleveland Browns relationship, I think Matt Ryan just kind of shrugs at I'm like, what do you do?
Right.
And I still don't get it. I don't know how you justify $55 million cap charge by trading Matt Ryan, unless could it be that they just keep both guys for a year and ask the commissioner, go ahead and do your best or your worst to Deshaun Watson now, so that this is free and clear by 23, and that's when we'll actually play him? I don't imagine anybody is even considering not playing Deshaun Watson right out of the gates, but it just makes no sense that the Falcons would want him. And at first I thought the Falcons were doing it to force the Saints and Panthers to give up more, but if, as it appears, the Texans pre-negotiated these deals with the teams that met with Watson, it's not like the Falcons being around is going to force anybody to give up anything more than what they already gave up. They've already been qualified to do the trade.
Right, exactly. I mean, I guess it's just one of those situations, and I've seen some of the reporting that it's Arthur Blank is fond of Deshaun Watson. And, Deshaun Watson is from around Atlanta in that Georgia area. So that, I guess, is part of it. Where you bringing a guy ostensibly kind of back home to his home state. And maybe that's, I don't know. I don't really get it either. I mean, financially, it doesn't really make any sense. Football-wise, it kind of makes sense. But also, if you're Deshaun Watson and you're looking at the wide receiving room and the skill players that the Falcons have, I mean, other than Kyle Pitts, like, what are we doing here? So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really that enamored with the Panthers' skill position players either. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, yes, he's terrific when he's healthy. He hasn't been healthy in 2 years. DJ Moore, he's all right. He's a pretty good receiver. He's a solid receiver. Robbie Anderson totally fell off last year. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I mean, at least with the Saints, like, you've got proven commodities in somebody like Alvin Kamara. That at least makes a little more sense to me. But yeah, the Falcons don't. I don't know.
I kind of like the Saints as the pick if I'm him. Although the Browns, it's just that I don't want that AFC. And I know that true competitors really want to go iron sharpens iron and all that stuff. I at least am. I mean, I'm going to look at the place where I at least have a chance to get to where I want to be, and it's going to be hard to get where you want to be in the AFC and in the AFC North.
Yeah, it is. And I think from that standpoint, I agree with you. I mean, the Saints have a program. They are established. Right, you're not going into some place that might be a lame duck situation with Carolina, and then who knows what's going to happen after this year. You're not going to some place like Cleveland where things may work out, they may not work out in terms of, getting to the postseason even because of all the great quarterbacks who are there and all the really solid teams who are there in the AFC. So, yeah, the Saints make a lot of sense. They really do. But we'll see exactly what he chooses.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.